I'm great, Matt. Thanks so much for having me on Tech Talk.
My pleasure. Chris, I gotta say, it's Friday, and most of my friends are out there. They're enjoying a few drinks in a pub. However, I must say, it's definitely my pleasure, and I'm actually glad to have you in the show.
I know it's Friday. You should be out there having a few pints, but thank you for being here with me.
Definitely. Chris, how would you define social media to someone not fluent in interactive or in media?
Sure. So social media pertains to a whole set of tools that people are able to use now to have conversations in two-way on using the web and using some of the other new technologies we have out there. This includes things like blogs, which just allow you to make chronological posts onto the web of your thoughts, your ideas, photos, videos, what have you. And then there's a whole set of tools maybe around that allow other ways to interact and sort of share a many-to-many experience where the web used to be one-to-one. The best way I could explain it is if you walk into Waterstones there to figure out what book you like, you really only have the people around you to choose from. But if you go to Amazon.co.uk, then I can look and see 25 other people said this, and these people commented about that, and it's always having everyone around, which has made the difference in why social media works.
Great. Now, I gotta say, Chris, I'm a nerd, and for me and my line of job, it's a given who you are, what you do. I read your blog, I follow on your Twitter, and I'm basically a fan because I think you're doing a great job. It should have been my first question. Could you please tell us who you are?
All right, well, that's a great question. Let's back up to who I am. I am no different than most anybody who would watch this. I started in the world of engineering. I was a person climbing under the floorboards at data centers, connecting wires and making big computers run. And I had always this passion, though, for blogging and for getting words out and having conversations. And when this service called Twitter came along that allowed us to have, short burst conversations, people, I think, glommed onto me because I was providing value. Twitter asks this question, what are you doing? And I don't answer that question. I answer, what has my attention? And that's so much more fun, because what are you doing? I'm talking to Maz. Well, it's great for you and me, but it doesn't really help anyone else's day get better. So instead, I like to say, I just found this really great thing on how to move Google Docs off of a website onto your desktop. It's useful. So all I've really done is, and the way 10,000 plus, it's over 12,000 today, the reason they're following me is because I share now what has some value to them, and then they can just do something with it for themselves.
Got it. Now, social media marketing has taken off over the last 12 months. What has been the biggest surprise to you?
Well, it's funny because one of the things is that internet video, for example, has been swamped a little bit by this. And I say that because in 2007 I was working with internet video, both from the startup side and also from big traditional media. And the experience was that we thought, 2007, we're all going to get onto the small screen. Everyone's going to make millions. It's going to be the biggest thing in the world. What I feel swamped that, what I feel caused a problem in the independent media revolution, more than, say, the professional, was I think that Facebook and applications like it took that away, because it takes a little bit of work to make a video. You and I had to think about where we are. The difference is that I think it's easier to write a comment on a Facebook wall. It's easier to send a tweet than it is to do anything else. So one thing that surprised me was that this medium is even easier than video on the net, and so it's changed that. On the marketing side, I guess, and I'm not a marketer, I'm a technologist who accidentally became a marketer. On the marketing side, marketing used to be a bullhorn, and instead we've been able to turn that bullhorn into a party hat. And it's more of a conversation that's amongst people. So I like that element. I think that businesses who master that ability to have a fun conversation versus just talking about their product are going to succeed fast.
Got it. What are some of the opportunities in social media that you see that marketeers are not taking advantage of?
Well, I think that they're still trying to use the traditional methods. I think they're still trying to use their message first. And so what they need to really reconsider, marketers should reconsider listening harder and using the tools that are out there to help you listen, because it turns out that there are people saying that they need your brand, they need your product. They just aren't listening for the right terms. And now that there's tools to do that even better and better, I think that the opportunity now lies in changing the way we market to be listening and then lining that up to what we need, so that we don't have to go find that body of people. We just have to listen well to the select few who we need. And there's an ROI to that. We don't spend as much money to reach all those people. We spend the right money on reaching the right people.
Interesting. How many hours a day do you spend on social networking sites, Chris?
I'm a little unique because it's part of my job. It's not. No one ever comes by my desk and says, "Are you on Twitter?" I'm paid to be on Twitter. I spend a good lot of hours on the computer, and the way I do it, though, or rather, I'm an analyst and I'm testing a lot of things. So there's some level of what I'm doing that wouldn't be your normal, typical business practice. If I answered your question differently, I would say someone should expect to spend 2 or so hours a day on the various social networks that they think will have impact to them. Remember, they all won't work the same. I mean, you might have great Facebook relationships that drive your business, but no video. Or you might use Seismic all the time and not use Twitter. So it's a matter of sort of finding what your business strategy would be and then bring it back to that.
What about loyalty for Web 2.0 sites? I mean, there's so many of them. Obviously, we are aware of the larger ones, and then you're finding new niche ones. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question. That's a really great question, and especially, think about a larger media organization who's trying to figure out where to do their spend or how that all works. For one thing, I'd make contracts really small because we're a bit of a nomadic tribe. The second point to that is that the retention and the loyalty goes with treating your community and equipping your community with tools that work well. LinkedIn, for a really short while, LinkedIn, which is a business social network, has been very close to losing their community for lack of innovation. But they've just started to turn that back on again, and they've released a few products over the last few months, and I'd say that they've kept themselves in the game. So if I had a piece of advice, I would say, ensure, if you're the platform creator, make sure that you maintain innovation that allows your users to facilitate their real live needs. If you're somebody trying to maybe advertise or market into that space, I would say keep paying attention to the pulse of the way users are talking about it. Don't jump when the early adopters jump, but do keep an eye out on the reports on it and look for the curves.
Great. Have you ever been banned from any social networking sites?
No. I've never been banned from a social networking site. And the reason is because I'm not marketing into them. I'm not spamming anybody. I'm not hitting them with a lot of content. I have a very good friend who will remain nameless, who's been banned 16 times from MySpace so far.
Wow, 16.
Making business, 16, 1 6. But he markets in a different way than I might market, should I have something to offer.
I'll bet. Here's something different. What question should I be asking you? And if you could answer that, please.
That is great. All right, so my question is, where will all this social networking go? If Charlene Lee, who wrote Groundswell with Josh Burnoff, says that social networks are like air and they'll be everywhere, I think that's partly true. And one thing that needs to change then is that our profile and our friends need to be unplugged from all the social networks and be a piece of currency like a credit card. And maybe currency is the wrong term, but you don't have to tell every pub in London that this card means you have money. There's a system there. So your friends and your profile should be the same thing, I believe, in the future.
Okay, that's great. Chris, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It's been great having you. So you have a great day, and we'll speak soon. Cheers, Chris.
As I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Cheers. Bye.